Oh, thank you, Pete. There are many genres of Chinese poetry in the classical language. Of these genres, I think it would be pretty easy to say that Jueju is one of the most famous. Certainly for children, it's one of the first things we would learn in grade school, memorizing 10, 20, even hundreds, ideally 300, as a kind of bar. Interestingly, my children have learned haiku, have learned tanka, haibun, sonnets, limericks. Right? The English poetic lexicon comes from almost every other language besides English. The one language tradition that's not included is Chinese. Ironically, Chinese poetry, and the Jueju in particular, is the engine behind modernism. Hu Shi in China, Ezra Pound in America, they invent modern poetics out of interpretations and misinterpretations of what Chinese is doing in this poetic form. This year, 350 students from around the state of Oklahoma wrote Jueju, following all the rules of Shenyue's Babu. That is to say, they had to follow incredibly complicated rules and regulations, so I called the enterprise a game and created a 30-minute lecture explaining all the different things one has to do with language. This is not a simple affair. And at 350 students is quite something. To know that they did it within a window of 3.5 weeks is something else entirely. So I've selected the poem. The model for this exercise comes from Harold Newman's favorite poet, Li Bai. What I'm going to do is I'm going to chant the poems in the Yinsong tradition, and then I'm going to chant the winners in that same tune. Both tunes, I'll do it in 2 different tunes, come from Li Bai's repertoire. So the first is Li Bai's poem, Night Thoughts. This is how it sounds. 船前的明月光，疑是地上霜。举头望明月，低头思故乡。Moonlight fall near bed, as if frost there spread. Lift gaze, find bright moon. Miss old home, hang head. So this translation is capable of holding the tonal prosody of Chinese. It is something else entirely to try to follow the parallelism and other rules, which is why composition in monosyllabic English is both possible, rich, and inviting. The English language happens to be built on the foundation of the monosyllable. Around 1500, it was monosyllabic when the E went silent. So we have an ancient part of our language which is capable of producing poems on the regulations of Chinese cosmology. So what the secret embedded deep cultural lesson in the composition of these poems is that Chinese poets are like Chinese doctors. The human body, like language, requires cultivation. When we were born as human, we were born slightly askew of the Tao, and we must cultivate ourselves, following the ancients, and become fully human through finding our own wen, our own pattern. Clouds have their own wen, rocks have their own wen, stones, trees, their wen is on the outside. But humans, their pattern isn't on their faces, it's in their language. So you must cultivate your humanity. And these poems regulate the 5 elements, yin and yang, in perfect harmony between parallelism and tones. It's a moral cultivating exercise. All of these students participated in that. So now I'm going to read Donovan Heltebrand. This is the 1st grade entry. It was the first that I read, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is going to be good. At night, cold rain falls. Mouse runs big brown halls. Mouse stops, huge black door. He's scared, dark tail tall. Our middle school winner, Elia Elders, 8th grade, from Highland East Junior High in Moore, writes this poem. Crisp air, frost-filled breeze, sleet gleams, ice-cloaked trees, fierce winds, strength takes lives, flakes fall, snow fills seas. Yeah. Now I'm going to switch poems. I won't give the whole poem, but just the first line of another Li Bai poem. It goes, "Qing," and this is you'll get a little bit of my hillbilly here, because this song, when I learned it in Yunnan, this particular recitation of the poem, I thought, my goodness, this really has a folksy feel. So it goes, "Qing shan heng bei guo." Right? You can imagine the banjo starting? Okay. This is Casey Tsai, 11th grade, Oklahoma School of Science and Mathematics entry, the high school winner. Dark fog, low gray air, dawn gleams, teal sea glare, light, rain, clear blue sky, look up, dusk swirls there. And finally, our college winner, Spencer McCoy from University of Tulsa, will take us away with his poem, Sparks drift, glints new dew, fireflies warm breath blue, cold walks close fresh bloom, ice burns glare-eyed blue. So please welcome our winners. You guys come on up. I'm going to invite Harold and Ruth to come up to present the awards now. So all the winners, please do come down at this time and be recognized for your accomplishments. Again,